Hi, it's Ken here again, Ajarn Ken. Welcome along to Ajarn Ken Reads the News. And today we're going to be looking at one of the big stories in football, if you're a football fan. And this is the story with Manchester United. And they have sacked their manager, Ole Gunner Solskjaer. So let's have a quick look at what's been said in some of the, well, in one of the media, and we'll see how they reported it, and we'll pick out some great vocabulary and some grammar, etc. So if we look up here, this is from, where is this from? Sky Sports, one of the big media companies in the UK that generally shows all the English Premier League. And the headline today says, Ole Gunner Solskjaer sacked by Man United. What went wrong, from tactics to cup defeats to Cristiano Ronaldo raising expectations? And I guess what this means part here is when Manchester United bought Cristiano Ronaldo from Juve, because Ronaldo is such a fantastic footballer and he looks after himself and he always has really, really, really high standards and high expectations. And this was pushed on to the players and the club in general. So they raised the standard and the expectations by him coming along. And the subheading says, Solskjaer started spectacularly well. If you see there, Solskjaer started spectacularly. That's 3 S's, right? This is called alliteration. And we use it in media quite a lot to get people to listening in it, because the letters all start the same. A few words all start with the same letter. It becomes kind of really flowing and poetic. So this is alliteration. But his 3 years in the job ultimately brought no silverware. And this just means they didn't win any trophies. Silverware is a football term that we use to show trophies and championships, etc. He struggled to prove himself as a top-class manager. This means he found it really difficult for everyone to believe that he had what it took to be a really good manager, especially when top-class talent arrived. So let's have a look at what they were saying. The Manchester United, the Solskjaer's Man United reign is over. Reign is when you, I guess you're the top man or the top person in a company. You know, a king, for example, will reign over, they will be in charge of the whole thing, a king or a queen. We look at the problem which undermined his position. To undermine something means that although someone's perhaps the boss, there's little things that he has no control over and is making his job a lot more difficult. So he's saying, I'm the boss, and perhaps other players are undermining him by not doing what he says. They're not listening to what he says. To undermine something means to not, I guess, to not listen to them or to not do what you are told. So he failed to get over the line in the big moments, which means that they failed to have success when it really, really mattered. 3 years, no trophies, despite all the humiliating defeats in his final weeks. It means that the Manchester United didn't win some games, and some of the games they expected to win, and humiliating means that they felt totally embarrassed by those defeats. Will be the damning review, which will be very, very strict. It will not be a very, very good review at all. It will be a very, very bad review, a damning review. Jose Mourinho won 3. Louis van Gaal picked up the FA Cup. There was at least a Community Shield for Moyes, but without silverware, again, without a trophy, because it's now saying that these other 3 managers won trophies. Solskjaer didn't. Solskjaer's argument of gradual progression under his stewardship was hard to justify. So argument of gradual progression, Solskjaer kept saying that, look, We're moving forward little by little, a gradual progression. We're getting better little by little. Under his stewardship, he was the boss. So as the boss, he was saying things are getting better little by little. It was hard to justify. He couldn't prove what he was saying was true because they were getting beat a lot. He was saying it's getting better, but nobody believed him. There was no milestone moment. Again, that's another alliteration, milestone moment. And there was nothing there that could prove that that was the case. Okay. So how things might have worked out differently had that long penalty shootout in Villarreal's Europa League had gone in their favour. So Manchester United got beat from the Spanish club Villarreal in the Europa League final. It didn't go in their favour, okay? It means that they didn't win, okay? They never got a good result. It may not be the most prestigious trophy. It may not be the most glamorous trophy, but it would have been a boost to belief. So there's another alliteration, boost to belief for Solskjaer's squad. Capped a season which they finished second and encouraged supporters. He had them on the right lines. This would have encouraged the supporters or helped the supporters to believe that things were progressing well on the right lines. They were progressing well, but they weren't. It was cruel that a missed penalty by David De Gea, of all people, would decide that one. But failing to get over the line in the big moments became a reoccurring theme of his tenure. So failing to get over the line in the big moments became a reoccurring theme of his tenure. What this means is he didn't have success when it really mattered. The reoccurring theme was he didn't have success of his tenure, of his leadership. Okay, so he didn't have the success in the big moments. It was a kind of fact, he was known for this, of not being able to have success when it really mattered. So there was 3 semi-finals. In each one, Man United didn't perform. So here we'll have each one in each one. We've got each and every. Each means individual and every means all. They're both similar. So in each one, each one of these 3 semi-finals. Comprehensive defeats to Chelsea and Man City in the Carabao Cup. Comprehensive defeats means they were defeated very, very well. You know, it wasn't lucky they got defeated. They were defeated by much better teams. Comprehensive defeats just tells us that they weren't playing very well and the other team really were worthy winners. In the Carabao Cup did for them domestically. This means playing football in the English League. Was thrown away while a 1-0 lead was thrown away. They were winning 1-0 and then they ended up getting beat. So the 1-0 lead, it was thrown away. They were winning 1-0, it was thrown away and they got beat. Okay. There was another semi-final loss last season too. The Carabao Cup's traditional 2 legs was reduced to 1 and United were handed home advantage, which means they played at their home ground, Old Trafford. But still, Man City won 2-0 on another disappointing night. If the penalty shootout defeat to Villarreal was unlucky, those 4 semi-finals point to a more damning picture. So there's another damning there. It was a damning picture. It showed that it was very, very bad, that things were getting really bad. For the side unable to deliver when the pressure was on. So this comes back to the moments that I mentioned before, when the pressure was on, they just couldn't win. Of his tenure, it was a reoccurring theme. They just couldn't have success in the games when they needed to on the big moments. It was a reoccurring problem. They kept doing this. Is the theme of this article is they're saying that, you know, they were always getting beat right at the moment when they should have been winning, but they just couldn't get a big win. It was always in semi-finals and finals that they were getting beat. They just couldn't lift themselves to have that achievement. They never shook off the not good enough tag until the recent defeat. Solskjaer could boast to Pep Guardiola's only regular opponent with a winning record over him. United have won on their last 3 trips to the Etihad, and other standout results just means excellent results, such as they had 2 wins against Paris Saint-Germain. Very, very proud of Solskjaer, and they won on 3 trips to the Etihad. But the derby defeat, a derby in football is when you play your closest neighbours. So Manchester United in a derby would play Manchester City. So the derby defeat to Manchester City and the 5-0 thrashing by Liverpool. 5-0 thrashing means they were really, really beaten. It wasn't even close. They got beat so badly. We call that a thrashing. When you thrash someone, it was really bad. Before that, fueled the narrative that didn't have the fueled the narrative. People believed that Solskjaer wasn't that good a manager, and because they got beat from Manchester City and from Liverpool, people were starting to believe that he wasn't very good. He didn't have the tactical and managerial acumen. His tactics as a football manager weren't very good. He wasn't a natural football manager. The 2 most recent Premier League winning managers, Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp, will go down amongst the greats, which means history in years to come, in 10 years, 20 years, will show that Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp were really, really good managers at a very good level. And that's the level that they wanted Solskjaer to have. Meanwhile, Thomas Tuchel's transfer in West London has confirmed the Chelsea's quality too. The immediate improvement he made after replacing Frank Lampard, a couple of agents perceived to have got the job without requirement. So what's happening here is when Chelsea got a new manager, Thomas Tuchel, I think it is, he made big changes at Chelsea. They turned Chelsea into a really good team immediately. The immediate improvement when he replaced the previous manager, an immediate improvement. And this is what the media were comparing Solskjaer to. You know, they were comparing, well, if Chelsea can do it, why can't Solskjaer? Appointed initially as a caretaker, he wasn't a full manager. He was the second in charge, only for a temporary or a short time. He only coached Molde in Norway and Cardiff when he faltered, which means when he failed. As results and performances dipped, means they went down, they started losing, performances wasn't great. Debate grew about the coaching of United's build-up play. Debate grew, people started discussing it. Is he good enough? Is he not good enough? Pundits picked apart, again, that's more alliteration. You hear that? Pundits picked apart. The litter of small errors means people on the television, on the television programs about the football, they would discuss little bits about the small things that, you know, the mistakes that were being made, which cost United the game time and time again. So people started talking about the little mistakes that were causing Manchester United to get beat. Okay, so the defensive mistakes, the vulnerability at set pieces. A set piece is like a free kick in football, or a corner kick, or not a penalty kick, but a corner kick or a free kick. These are set pieces. So the ball's dead and they have to kick it back into play. This is a set piece. In an era when managerial philosophy matters, Solskjaer never had a clear over style of play. So what they're saying there is managers at the top level, like Guardiola and Klopp, they have this image of how football should be played. They are individual, and they have their own thinking of how football should be played. And what they're saying is Solskjaer didn't have that way of thinking. His best victories came on the counter-attack, which means they sat back. The other team tried to, you know, they would let the other team come to them, and when they got the ball, they would counter-attack. They would run up the park. So they were waiting. They were waiting for the other team to lose the ball before they tried to score a goal. But that approach jarred with Solskjaer's desire to replicate the front foot of United's great teams of the past, which means that the counter-attack style wasn't good because Solskjaer had played in a really, really good Manchester United team, and his desire to replicate this, he wanted to repeat. He really, really wanted to repeat how he played as a footballer on the front foot attitude. So this means that the old United teams of the past would always attack, always attack, always attack. But he couldn't do this because he didn't have the players. In a league where Guardiola, Klopp and Tuchel set the standard for shaping a team, Solskjaer often needed moments of brilliance from individual members. So what they're saying is the other managers, Guardiola, Klopp and Tuchel, they set their teams up to play together and to win the game together. But Solskjaer, as a manager, couldn't do that. He would rely on individual players to have one good moment to win the game, rather than the whole team winning together. So I think that's why he bought in Ronaldo, because he's a fantastic player and he expected Ronaldo to try and win every game for United on their own. So there we go, exposed when Ronaldo changed. With 9 goals into it, Ronaldo is something of an odd scapegoat. He has scored, goes on about Ronaldo. He hasn't been quite as lethal, which means that normally he can score goals quite a lot. But if you're not as lethal, means you're not scoring as many goals. Okay, he hasn't been as lethal. So that's just a quick run through of some of the vocabulary from this Sky Sports article about Ole Gunner Solskjaer and his sacking as Manchester United manager. And it's quite interesting, you know. I like football. I don't really follow English football as such, but it's interesting to pick out some of the vocabulary, some of the real life vocabulary and context that articles will generally have. So what do you think about that? Let me know below. And if you enjoyed this, remember to subscribe and to give me a thumbs up and to like this. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So if you've got any topics you want me to cover, then please leave a comment below. And of course, I will cover it for you. So my name's Ken. Bye for now.